Hi everyone. When people are trying to get healthier or they're trying to reverse a disease, a lot of times they focus more on the physical stuff. Exercise, food, sleep, water, all those things, which are very important, and they are a huge factor in healing. But we oftentimes don't spend as much time on our emotional and spiritual healing, which is just as important. And I think that that's why so many doctors, including Dr. Goldner, stresses the self-care as an important aspect in our healing. Our body and our spirits are one. They work together, they want to be united, but oftentimes they are butting heads. So I want to talk today a little bit about how that connection is so important and how it affected my healing. So I love this quote that I got off of a video that says, the more you are in control of your mind, the more you are in control of your life. And it is so true. Our thoughts determine our actions and our circumstances, every aspect of our life. And our mind is a muscle that should be exercised just as much as any other part of our body. You know, we do squats and things to strengthen our legs, and we use weights, to strengthen our arms, but we don't even think twice about strengthening our mind. And the more we are in control of our thoughts, then we have so much power over our actions. Because if we can control our thoughts, recognize what they are for what they are, and either put them aside or act on them based on what we know to be good and helpful and serving us, then we have power over our lives. So I wanted to show you this book. It's called As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. And he was a British author and he was born in 1864. And this book was first published in 1903. But it is really eye-opening and very insightful, and it gets you thinking about just the way that your thoughts can control different aspects of your life. And he actually has a section in here under health and diet, and also our circumstances, how thoughts affect our circumstances. And I wanted to read you one of the paragraphs under circumstances, because when I read it, it was just like, holy cow, this is so many people in regards to food. So he says, here is a rich man who is a victim of a painful and persistent disease as the result of gluttony. Okay, the overindulgence of food that's not good for your body. He is willing to give large sums of money to get rid of it, but he will not sacrifice his gluttonous desires. He wants to gratify his taste for rich and unnatural viands and have his health as well. Such a man is totally unfit to have health because he has not yet learned the first principles of a healthy life. Okay, the thing I love most about that is I cannot tell you how many people I have talked to who you tell them you can reverse your disease, you can take back your health. And they immediately say, well, I'd rather go the medicine route because I want to be able to eat whatever I want. And I just hurt for people who think that way, because they're not realizing that medicines are only treating their symptoms. It's not making it better for their bodies. And over time, that's not going to serve you. You're going to end up still having to go to the doctor, still having to get all of those labs. And eventually it could lead to other things, turning on other diseases that you didn't have. If only you would control those thoughts and desires for those foods that aren't serving you. And another thing in this book that he talks about is under the health and body section, he says, while impure thoughts, even if not physically indulged, will soon shatter the nervous system. Okay, and I first read this when somebody had shared this in a Facebook group that I'm in. And a lady had commented, Well, that's not true because I have a disease and my thoughts are pure. I don't have impure thoughts. And I immediately thought of her personal thoughts about herself. And so I asked her, you may have pure thoughts in regards to other people and, not having thoughts that are immoral or vulgar or anything like that. But any thought that is not pure is something that is not truth. So if some of your thoughts are beating yourself up, about your hair, your physical looks, or I never can get this right, or people are looking at me or judging me, those thoughts are not pure. They're not true. And so many times we get into the trap, especially women. We love to compare ourselves with other women. And those thoughts and comparisons are just not true. And it was really eye-opening to this lady when I mentioned that, how are your self-thoughts towards yourself? And she immediately knew that was something that she needed to work on. Another thing that he says in here is, if you would protect your body, guard your mind. If you would renew your body, beautify your mind. Thoughts of malice, envy, disappointment, despondency rob the body of its health and grace. And it's so true. You cannot approach your lifestyle, wanting to get healthier, wanting to improve, wanting to be happy, and still have thoughts in the back of your mind that are doubt, judgmental, envy, because health and wellness and longevity cannot be happening in your body at the same time as your mind is not on the same page. So I always think about when somebody says that, oh yeah, I eat healthy all the time and then I have a cheat day. Okay, so I'm not judging you if that's what you're doing, but I just want to explain a little bit on the premise of how that actually doesn't work out for your benefit. Okay, so take into account somebody who is a recovering alcoholic or somebody who is addicted to tobacco or drugs. Okay, it doesn't make sense if that person says, oh yeah, I'm good and I'm sober, 6 days of the week. And then one day of the week, I have a cheat day and I indulge in those things, but it's just for that one day. Now, a lot of people will say, well, that's not the same thing. It's not the same with food, but food is just as addictive. Food is, if not more, addictive than some of those things because it's something we do day in and day out from birth. And it's tied to so many things, socially, emotionally. And if we eat good all throughout the week, and then one day we just completely indulge in foods and things that cause disease, like that doesn't make sense. And it's fighting against what you're ultimately wanting to become. And you're wanting to become somebody who is not controlled by their food. You're not controlled by your thoughts. So the word cheat should kind of give you an idea that that's probably not something that I should do. Because when is it okay, to tell your kids, oh yeah, be honest at school with all of your work, but just have one day that you cheat. Okay, it just doesn't make sense. Two things that I really found to help me healing my mind and my spirit was meditation. And I started doing meditation because that was something that Clint Pattison recommends on the Pattison program, which is where I started. And I started just every day during his program, I would meditate. And it wasn't, anything long or spectacular. It was just like 10, 15 minutes. I would just sit down every day in a quiet place where I wasn't going to be disturbed. I would tell my family, I am going to meditate now. Please don't disturb me. And meditation is really a time and place that you set aside where you think of nothing. And it really is weird and difficult at first because your mind is just racing with all the things that you could be doing, that you should be doing, things that need to get done. And it's so hard to just sit there and not think of anything. But as the thoughts come in, you just recognize it and then let it go. And if you start thinking about things and then you realize, oh, I'm not thinking of anything, I need to stop this, then you just recenter and get back to where you're thinking of nothing. And I like to do it with my eyes closed, either when I'm sitting down or lying down. And I try to focus my eyes just straight forward, because a lot of times when you close your eyes kind of go up. But I like to have it, I like to meditate with my eyes focused forward into my mind. And I eventually started searching for different things that I could use for meditating that were guided meditations. And the one that I love and I'm still using to this day is the Honest Guys. So look them up on YouTube because they're guided healing, they're epic. Meditations are amazing. And I cannot tell you how many just spiritual experiences and emotional releases and healing that I had with doing their meditations. And you don't realize how many emotions that you're holding deep down that you're just holding there, and you need to release them. And meditation really helps you to clear your mind, to clear your body, and to let them go. One of the things that I found with the meditation is it can be done anywhere and anytime. An example, I took my son to the orthodontist the other day, and while I was waiting for him in his appointment, I was meditating in the waiting room. And I've gotten to the point where I can, do it in a place where it may be a little bit distractful to others, if there's other sounds or people around, but I can just shut that all out and have a time to myself where I may not have planned that in the day, but you can take advantage of it, whenever you're in a situation like that. So many aspects of my life have been strengthened through doing meditation. I just can't even begin to express how much it's affected my health, and to just be able to no longer be a slave to my thoughts. I am in control of them. I don't have to listen to the lies. I know who I am. My worth is not based on anyone else's thoughts or their lack of thoughts, that I used to think that people were thinking about me. It doesn't matter, okay? The only person that I need to please is myself and God. And as long as I am good with those, then I'm good. And I don't need to worry about anything else that I cannot control. And really taking time for your self-care, taking time to strengthen your mind allows you to realize that we waste so much of our lives worrying about things that are completely out of our control. And we only need to focus on the things that we do have control over. And another thing that I did was positive affirmations. So this was another thing that Clint Pattison in his program talked about, having positive affirmations. And again, it's the same thought of you can't go into a program of wanting to heal your body, reverse your disease, take back your health, and then have thoughts of, this isn't going to work for me. It didn't work for me then, it's not going to work for me now. Because you have to be committed 100% in both body and mind to your healing. So you cannot have doubt and fear at the same time as peace and healing and success at the same time. It just doesn't work. So I pulled out my journal, and these are just some of the affirmations that I wrote down that I would tell myself. So I'll read some of them to you if they're helpful to you. I now free myself from destructive fears and doubts. Wellness is the natural state of my body. Today is the future that I created yesterday. I love my body and I am thankful for all it can do. I am in perfect health. I feel glorious, dynamic energy. I am active and I am alive. My health is always worth the sacrifice. I only consume food and drinks that nourish my body. Okay, so those are just a few. And one of the things with that one is I wasn't in perfect health when I was telling myself these affirmations. Okay, this was at the very beginning of my health journey. And the more you tell yourself something, though, the more you believe it and the more it happens and it actually becomes a reality. So you have to change your thought processes. Meditation has also helped me overcome a lot of the destructive thoughts that I used to have. I feel like a lot of people, if you suffer from depression, anxiety, poor self-image, you should be doing meditating. Implement meditation into your life on a regular basis and see how it affects you. Because it really is so empowering when you are in control of your thoughts. When you can control your mind and shut it off, you recognize more those lies that come into your mind and the truth thoughts that come into your mind. And so when those lies come in, you can just completely push them away and you know that they're not true. Now, I'm not saying that anybody who suffers from depression or anxiety, that it's not a mental illness or that it doesn't need the help of a doctor or medications. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, just like any other exercise regimen that we have, when we break an arm or a leg or we have surgery and we have to do physical therapy to strengthen that, to help that to get strong and its mobility back, it's the same thing with our mind. So if you're prone to suffer with those mental illnesses, the more reason that you should be learning to strengthen your mind. And I've found that the best way is through meditation. One thing that I love about meditation is we live in such a crazy, chaotic, fast-paced world where there's opinions and ideas just constantly being thrown at you. Where meditation forces you to sit and to be still and to be calm and quiet and at peace. And so the more you put yourself in those environments, the more sensitive you become to the opposite. The more sensitive you become to the environments that are chaotic, that drive away the spirit of peace that's within you. The more you recognize that, again, the more power you have over your life. And I just cannot stress this enough. So again, I will post a link to the Honest Guys so you can find their YouTube channel. And I would really just encourage you to think about that connection between your body and your mind and your emotional and your spirit side, as well as all of the physical things that you can be doing to help nourish and feed your body and give it what it needs. And